And everyone understand that these countries are like this. But I want to remind everyone, when Russia attacked our energy sector, and we were in response, attacked them on the market on which they make money, and then spend this money on weapons, it was these two countries that complained to President Trump.
You have already partially answered it, but I would still like to clarify, during this lengthy conversation with Trump, as we journalists understood, were there any new deadlines mentioned for Putin, and was it only about a meeting in the format of your one-on-one with him, which the American side relayed this request? Were there any other options for a meeting discussed? And you also mentioned the political security format, which will be provided to us. Does this concern EU membership, or is it something a bit more?
Дякую за запитання. Передусім, серед гарантій безпеки, які ми бачимо.
Thank you for the question. First of all, among the security guarantees that we see, membership in the European Union, for us, these are mandatory economic security guarantees, both political, economic, and geopolitical. Therefore, in our approach to security guarantees, this is an important point that is listed separately. Regarding our lengthy conversation, we had many leaders during the discussion, and it is absolutely clear that there are ideas and developments. Everyone has questions and everyone communicates with the USA, every leader, undoubtedly. Each has their own proposals, undoubtedly, tariffs, undoubtedly, sanctions, and undoubtedly, the format of the meeting with Putin. And what America, most importantly, will agree to if Putin delays the meeting. These are the topics, in principle, that I discussed. Also, we were in touch with the Vice President from their side. Vice President of the USA, Vance, was online, and at our table was President Trump's representative, Steve Witkoff.
My second question to the French president: is the war ending in agreements? You said that Europeans would provide guarantees as soon as there is a ceasefire. But yesterday you said that the guarantees will begin when peace is established. So, can you clarify whether the ceasefire is included in these guarantees?
Merci pour votre question et cette clarification.
We have always said that for there to be a lasting peace, we don't need security guarantees. In recent months, you have seen that everything has been changing. You have seen that everything was changing. Initially, the proposal that the Ukrainian president agreed to was an American proposal. It was certainly a ceasefire. Then there was a rejection of this truce. Whatever it may be, whether it will be a ceasefire or complete peace, security guarantees will immediately come into effect. And that's exactly how they are being considered conceptually.
Précision juste d'abord sur ces 26 pays dont vous parlez.
A clarification regarding the 26 countries you mentioned. Does this include Germany, Italy, Poland, which have been very cautious? To the idea of sending troops. And a further question for both. You talk about coordinated sanctions with the Americans if there are no advances in the next weeks. What are we talking about? Does the White House say that Trump asked you and all European leaders to stop buying Russian oil? And did he emphasize that European leaders should pressure China to stop financing Russia's military efforts? And lastly, Mr. President, in this period of political instability in France, what message do you want to convey?
On voit bien que le contexte international est très complexe à l'approche d'une semaine à très haut risque. On pense à François Bayrou, dont les jours sont comptés.
Merci beaucoup. Et écoutez, sur d'abord les contributions, les trois pays que vous avez évoqués font partie.
We see that the international context is very complex, and it brings a very risky week for you. And we obviously think of Prime Minister Bayrou. As for those three countries you mentioned, these are the 26 countries that are either part of the coalition, or to help rebuild the Ukrainian army, or to provide security guarantees at sea and in the air. These countries belong to those who will contribute to security. There are other countries that can provide their bases. I will not go into detail, but all the countries you mentioned are important participants in security guarantees during these negotiations. As for sanctions, it is absolutely true that President Trump and the American administration, likewise like us, were very concerned from the start of this war by the choice of two European Union countries that continue to buy Russian oil. And I think this is very good because at times these countries provide their argument that they are very close to the American administration. It is very good that it is the American administration itself that says this practice needs to stop. Further, we talk about joint actions, direct and immediate sanctions, not indirect sanctions, in order for them to be effective. And China was mentioned here. Work will be carried out, technical work, in particular, which fits into the sovereign framework. We must decide for ourselves what we will do, and what we will conduct, what policy it will be, and going forward. And you are right, the international context of Ukraine and the Middle East reminds us that France is expected, that we have a lot of work, that the world is unstable. And this summit, which took place in recent days, shows how the situation is changing for Europe in particular, and France will continue to work with our sense of responsibility, desire for stability, and respect to political formations. We must engage in internal debates. And I think that it is in this spirit that we will continue to work over the coming weeks and months.
Les jours et semaines à venir seront abordés, parce que c'est ceux qui m'animeront.
Що стосується країн, про які ви сказали, Німеччина, Італія, Польща.
As for the countries you mentioned, Germany, Italy, Poland, undoubtedly. These countries are among the security guarantors for Ukraine. And here I support Emmanuel. For now, we will not go into details, that each of these countries is ready to provide. Although I emphasize once again that we already have an understanding. And as for what was mentioned, yes, the United States of America, President Trump raised revision. Among others, there are two countries. We know that these are Hungary and Slovakia, and everyone understands that these countries are like this. But I want to remind everyone, when Russia attacked our energy sector, and we were in response, attacked them on the market on which they make money, and then spend this money on weapons. It was these two countries that complained to President Trump about that Ukraine is decreasing the opportunities for obtaining the relevant oil. So, you see, Ukraine has found this kind of sanctions. However, undoubtedly, I am glad that today the United States of America is completely open, naming these countries, stating that they are helping the Russian war machine. And we all need to stop this. Thank you very much.
І нам потрібно всім це зупиняти.